All good role-playing campaigns start off in a tavern, so I'm going to need to make one for our D&D game. I start out with laying out some of these Hearst Arts bricks I made for the dungeon pieces as a wall for the tavern to determine the dimensions. I'll put a link in the description to his site if you want to get a mold for the bricks. I then cut a piece of foam core board to be the base and started gluing the bricks in place on the foam core. Now I made a crucial mistake here by not removing the paper on the foam core, which caused me problems later on when I painted the base. For the walls of the tavern, I am going to use cereal box cardboard. This stuff is great for making buildings since it cuts easily, is sturdy and yet foldable, and it's totally free. I didn't do any measuring for this, instead eyeballing all the folds because I wanted the walls to be able to slip right over the bricks I had glued to the base. This made it take a little bit more time, but I wanted to be sure that the walls would slip on and off the base easily. I then taped the two pieces together with masking tape just to hold them in place while the PVA glue dried. Kira came by to see the progress, and Stormy decided to crash the party. But everything survived his attack. Now I did use a ruler to determine where the peak of the roof would be for cutting the walls down to the correct height. I then double-checked the fit of the walls on the base. I left these tabs in place all around the top edge of the walls to provide a good surface for the roof to glue to later. With the walls all set in place and the tabs bent, I made the final glue connections to complete the walls. Then it was time to think about how I was going to do the roof. I decided on using foam core again to make the base of the roof, and then I thought about what I would use for shingles. And then I began to wonder what it means to be a roof, and how I would feel if I were a roof. Then I snapped out of it. I glued the two sides of the roof onto the walls and put a book on them to make sure they were seated flush to the walls. I then went on to complete the chimney since that part would be attached to the walls. I notched out the roof where the chimney would stick up and glued it in place. I then started cutting out details for the wood beams from more cereal box cardboard and started gluing them onto the walls. I also used some more Hearst Arts bricks to frame the windows and the front door. A few more wood beam trim pieces for details on the walls, and that part was done. I even added some little wall details like these holes in the stucco siding. Then it was on to the shingles. I cut the shingles from strips of thinner cardstock. And I added this little section of exposed wood planks on the roof that would show through some of the missing shingles. I did this just by carving in some lines on the foam core before gluing on the shingles. Instead of individual shingles, I opted to make strips, which saved a lot of time, even though they didn't look super great. With the shingles all in place, it was time to paint. I started with a base yellow for the stucco, and then I muddied that up with some brown for the dirt around the outside of the tavern. I used just straight brown for the wood floor inside and under the roof line. And then a medium gray for the brick base on the outside and the bricks that were the walls on the inside, as well as the stone trim pieces. I mixed a dark brown for the shingles of the roof, and then added a light cream stippling to the stucco, and some more brown for the wood beams. I used brick red for the chimney, and then some dry brushing of gray over all of the brick and all of the stone, and the paint was all complete. next thing was to add the little details that make a piece really come alive. First, I made a little wood pile outside the back door with some sticks that I had. And then I realized I had to deal with the warping of the foam core because of the paint. This was the result of not peeling the paper off at the start. First, I tried gluing it to a piece of chipboard, but that wasn't strong enough and it just bent the chipboard. So I ended up peeling the paper layer off of the foam core with the bricks and all. And then I just pasted that onto a piece of chipboard with classroom paste, which worked great. Next up, I drew some seams in the wood planks on the floor with a pen. Then started gluing a mix of fine and medium sand around the base for texture by just brushing on some PVA glue and pouring the sand mixture onto the glue. Then knocking off the excess. To seal the sand in, I mixed up a slurry of glue, black paint, brown paint, and Mod Podge all together, then poured this whole mixture onto the sand. After that had dried overnight, I painted the edges with a base of green paint and then started gluing on some moss clumps to be bushes. Once those had dried in place, I mixed up some fine green flock and used some old dried herbs as leaves and sticks. Then I mixed some PVA glue and green paint, applied the glue to where I wanted the flock to stick, then poured on the flock. I knocked off the excess and then repeated it on the other side. And then it was all complete. A quick, cheap, and easy tavern to start our D&D campaign. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to see more videos in this series.